What's up YouTube, Dow here from Zephyr Wargames, and today I am bringing you an updated ninja profile. That's right, this deck has been doing so well for me. I've had a huge amount of fun with it, and I started to update it for the current format involving Super Heavy Samurais and everything else. So, with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe if you want to see any more ninja content. Make sure you smash the like button, getting it above 50 likes in the first 24 hours will show that, and I'll bring you more ninja videos. So we're going to start off with Triple Ninja Grandmaster Hanzo. So this is the main go-getter, the cog that gets everything turning for the deck. Alongside Mitsu, yes, I know this is triggering just as much for me as it is for everyone else. I'm trying to get my last Starlight Mitsu and my 2 missing ulti Hanzo, so do not worry, when I get them, I will do an update as well. We've then, of course, got Triple Tabari. So these are the 3 core components of the ninja deck. So you've got Hanzo, which is your starter, your everything go-getter. You've got Tabari, which is your fusion during your opponent's turn, as well as special summoning a ninja from the hand. And then you've got your Mitsu, which is your negate and a free special summon of itself, as long as you control a ninja. So all of these keep everything ticking, and this is what makes the deck so incredibly powerful and important. Then for the one-offs, we've got the 1 Baku, the 1 Green, the 1 Kagero, and I've now gone back down to 1 Yugioh. I may change this, I'm not sure. I've been bouncing back between 1s and 2s to see how it works. I've kind of decided to make this deck a bit more aggressive, like go second options than anything else, which is why the next card is in here in the form of Triple Kashtira Fenrir. Now, obviously, the ban list may change this, and if it does, this would very easily become a Kaiju. The reason I decided to go for this instead of the Kaiju was that it's just such a good card going first and second. If I go first, I can special summon it, search out another copy of itself, and then it's set there as a way that if my opponent does choose to use a monster effect, I can banish 1 card they control. On top of that as well, going second, like a Kaiju will just completely out a monster. With Fenrir, you're kind of doing a 1-for-1 trade. And what I mean by that is you special summon down Fenrir. You can then try and use this effect to grab a second copy, and your opponent might go, no, okay, negate. Now, if they do, and you have a second copy of Fenrir in the hand already, you can still just special summon it down, and you still have the declaration to then target and banish a card as well. On top of that, it helps you push for an OTK capabilities. I know that most of the ninja OTKs are instigated by being able to be ninjas and then being able to be attacked directly. Whereas Fenrir can help get rid of a monster if you can't OTK that turn. It can get rid of floodgates and everything else, which is why I decided to go with Fenrir over a direct Kaiju. For the hand traps, we've got Triple Ash Blossom alongside the Gamma package. Now the Gamma package, again, because of the way that I've designed this deck to be a bit more aggressive and a bit more go second, Gamma actually puts in a lot more work. Because not only if you do go first and you do go through duplication can you tribute as cost and try and like basically say to your opponent, Ash me, let's go. But it's one of the strongest hand traps of being able to negate and destroy. And if you are going second, you can very easily activate Notebook with your opponent controlling a monster. They activate a monster effect to negate, you chain Gamma. Straight away what you're doing is you're trading 2 cards for 2 negates, and if they're unable to stop the Gamma protecting the Notebook, you're going to end up with Gamma, Driver going into a Mega, plus the Notebook giving you Ninja Monster and everything else you need in between. So very, very good card in the form of the Notebook. I really, really like this, and I felt that Gamma protected it quite nicely in order to help you instigate the OTK plays. The last hand trap is 2 Imperm. This can be changed out for Draw and Lockbird. It can be changed for anything that is very specific to your local environment. Heck, I could even arguably see myself taking these out and putting in direct Kaijus. I feel the issue with Kaijus right now is that like so many of the strong boards are either building a board where they can play through a Kaiju, they're building a board where the 1 Kaiju doesn't make any difference, or they're building a board where a Kaiju is useless and you actually need a Santa Claus to do it. I did look at ways of trying to put Small World into the deck, even Triple Tactic Thrust, everything like that to kind of get the balance correct. And ultimately, I felt that this kind of landed the best balance for me. We've then got Triple Pot of Prosperity, so this is your consistency card. Sadly, ninjas do need like multiple cards to combo off. And they then will need to be able to dig out for their specific cards, whereas Prosperity is the best way to do so. Until we get a ninja monster that can kind of reduce the card count that you need of the ninjas, and considering we've just got a whole bunch of new ninja cards, I can't see that happening in the near future, but the deck is still very, very powerful. Obviously, it had its height in the Kashtira format, but I still feel the Book of Moon effect is very powerful, because being able to Book of Moon your opponent's normal summon of something like a Soul Piercer and locking a zone down is very important. Then, of course, as I showed you previously, we do have the triple art book. Then, of course, I play 2 Book of Moon and 2 Book of Eclipse. I feel the reason that Eclipse is so good is the fact that it doesn't target and the fact that it just deals with an entire board kind of puts your opponent in that position of, again, when you look at Gamma, activate Book of Eclipse, chain something like Baron to negate it, chain Gamma. Ultimately, if they can't protect, you don't really mind. It's not the end of the world if your Gamma does get flipped face down. The idea is that you're going to be able to try and protect your board. Yes, the same can be said for Book of Moon, but if your opponent has multiple monsters, Book of Eclipse in their entire board, knowing that you're going to be able to fulfill your Ninja OTK capabilities is going to really, really help you. Then we've got the ones of, which is the 1 Instant Fusion, the 1 Call by the Grave, the 1 Iron Digger, which is just as important because this is what instigates your OTK through Boral Sword. And then, of course, you've got your 1 Reinforcement of the Army. For the trap cards, I've got double Dancing Leaves and the 1 Duplication. Arguably, if you wanted this deck to be more go second and more all out go second, you can very easily take these out and swap them for more aggressive cards. So I did look at stuff like Lightning Storm. I also looked at stuff like I said, Kaijus, Santa Clauses, Small Worlds, everything like that. It does kind of open up that option for you that should you feel that you desperately need it, you can very easily put that in. So that's it for the main deck. Moving on to the extra deck. So pretty straightforward and simple on this one. We've got triple Maizen the Battle Ninja. So this is your go-getter, your starter, your everything you need for this deck. This is the one that allows your ninjas to attack directly. It's the one that allows you to trigger effects off your opponent, activating effects. It just kind of pushes everything you need. I've then gone or testing out 2 Yagamaru, and the reason I'm testing out 2 Yagamaru is I wanted to maintain the Blade Ninja. Now the reason I wanted to maintain the Blade Ninja is, again, this is another route to OTK if you couldn't guarantee to get to the Boral Sword OTK. Again, it's entirely up to you. If it doesn't work for you, then of course change this out, you go for 3 Yagamaru. But the way I was playing it, 9 out of 10, at least 1 Yagamaru and 1 Maizen were coming off a Pot of Prosperity, and then everything else allowed me to dig to continue. Obviously, what you need to keep in mind is with Pot of Prosperity, you're digging to either because you can't OTK that turn, or you're digging to be able to break an entire board and then make sure you can control the board the next turn. Another card that can be cut for the third Yagamaru is the Omega, and the reason I've put Omega in here is I've also put in Lambda, just for those ones that I've got a generic link to that allows me to kind of still maintain the Gamma play. So I'm ultimately being able to utilize, for example, if I summon down Fenrir and my opponent imperms it and I'm like, okay, cool, Fenrir's not going to be much use to me next turn, or maybe they're going to play around that, you can kind of turn it into a Lambda. Now, it's not obviously foolproof, it's just an option here, but they are 2 flex spots you can get rid of. I just feel that the double jeopardy of if your opponent hand traps you and you Gamma it and protect it and then go Omega, to rip 2 cards from the hand is insanely powerful, and then kind of push further forward from there. We've then, of course, got the 1 IP Masquerena, 2 Sizos, 1 Cross Sheep, and then you've got your 1 Nightmare Unicorn along with your defensive Link 4 in Appaloosa and your aggressive Link 4 in Boral Sword. So pretty straightforward and simple on these ones. I've shown the combos on the channel, so you'll be able to check those out for your OTK route and your defensive route, but they kind of put in a lot of work. I also did see a very spicy tech on a Doomsday Device Gaming, which is really interesting, is they were playing Master Hero Darklaw, which I thought was kind of cool because they were playing Mask Change 2 in the side deck, and basically the way that works is you can turn your Hanzo into Darklaw, and that causes your opponent huge amounts of issue. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the list. I hope this has given you a couple of ideas on your own build to kind of update it, change it around, keep it relevant, you name it. Obviously, all the cards I've shown you here aren't absolute staples apart from the ninjas themselves, of course. So stuff like Fenrir, if you don't have it, don't worry about even putting it in there. It was just my alternative option to something like a Kaiju, just to kind of see how it operates and if I was happy with the way that it played. And honestly, it does put a lot of work in. The fact your opponent feels really threatened by the single Fenrir is absolutely insane. Obviously with the Kaiju, the one thing that makes the Kaiju better is you're giving your opponent a monster. So whereas with Fenrir, if they've only got 1 monster on the board and they try to negate it or they activate something and you banish it and you don't leave them with a card, then some of your ninja cards will start to fall apart. But it is something that you need to keep in mind in regards to going forward as to how effective that is coming up, how often that is coming up at your local environment as well. And then if you feel that you need to take it out or change it. These decks can be net decked if you want to kind of test them out and get a feel for it. That's absolutely fine. But then I always advise people to personalize them and make them work for yourselves and your environment, because every environment is different apart from the high level events. So with all of that out of the way, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Till next time, as absolutely always, stay safe and of course, happy dueling.